Now, when John Kelly replaced Reince Priebus as Trump's chief of staff, I think I and a lot of other people thought, oh, okay, hey, man, look, you've got somebody there who's a general. He's going to instill a little bit of discipline into the White House and maybe prevent Trump from doing some of the stupidest things, right? Like shooting a nuke off at North Korea or something ridiculous, right? Now, as I said, I was relieved, and I even had a little bit of respect for John Kelly for trying to stand up to Donald Trump and trying to make, I guess, order out of chaos, right? Well, that little bit of respect is now gone, has been gone for a while. First off, it went away because he was no longer a non-political figure. And you guys remember when he went after Frederica Wilson over the call to Maisha Johnson. That is the widow of the veteran Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, who was killed in an ambush in Niger. He called her, and it was a very disrespectful call. And so Frederica Wilson, who just happened to be there, was very close to the family, who had heard that call over the loudspeaker, was basically went on TV and was like, hey, that's disrespectful. Like, you could do a lot better. Well, during that whole fiasco, John Kelly comes out, trots out his dead son, which is just horrendous. And he's like, hey, Wilson, you're a liar. That's not what happened. Now, there's actually proof that he was lying about Frederica Wilson, and you guys can look that up. But so that's one of the that's like the first part where he lost a lot of respect, not just from me, but from a lot of other people when he had shamelessly went out to defend Donald Trump. But now it actually gets worse, as now we know a little bit more about John Kelly's positions on policies, and this is actually about refugees. Now, according to the New York Times, Kelly reportedly told other members of the Trump administration that the number of refugees that he would admit if he were in charge was actually really, really low. So if John Kelly were in charge, he'd be like, I would cut down on refugees immediately. Even more so than what the Trump administration is actually at, which is that right now it's at incredibly low levels. Okay. How many? He said that he would admit, ideally, between 0 and 1 refugees each year, if it were up to him. Kelly apparently made the comment while the administration debated lowering the cap on the number of refugees allowed in the country, which is about 45,000. Between 0 and 1. Hey, refugees. If you're running from ISIS or natural disasters, John Kelly has a message for you. Fuck off. That's what he's telling you, man. Look, if you're unlucky enough to be born in a country that gets hit with a natural disaster or even a man-made disaster, such as a conflict, and you want to escape and, God forbid, make a better life for you and your family, well, John Kelly says, no, absolutely not. If I were in charge, I wouldn't allow you to do it at all. You're on your own, bitch. Look, Kelly is a loathsome human being. And now we realize exactly why Donald Trump picked him to be in his cabinet. Now, look, I'm not saying that we should allow every single refugee into the country with no questions asked. That's ridiculous. That's never been our position. That's not even a real position that people hold. There are limits, and there should be some limits, and they should be based ideally on how many people we can actually help. And yes, they should be vetted, right? And look, even before Trump, we had an amazing vetting system that it took about 18 months, at least, for somebody to get through the vetting process to even step foot in America. So, yes, and that was during the Obama administration. Under the Trump administration, I don't even know how long it's going to take for refugees to get vetted, if we're even allowing them into the country at this point. But anyway, what Kelly wants to do is basically close ourselves off. And in my opinion, that is not only immoral, but it's actually bad for the country. And Look, while there is a big upfront cost to taking in refugees, and conservatives love to remind us of that, refugees are actually good for the economy in the long run. And let me cite you some statistics here. Refugees to Southeast Michigan contributed as much as $295 million to the region's economy and created as many as 2,300 jobs last year, according to a study by Global Detroit, which is a nonprofit organization. Now, the reason for that, and that's a really good number, is that a lot of refugees, they actually don't have jobs waiting for them. A lot of them choose to create their own businesses. Who knew that they would be more entrepreneurial, right? And I've got more examples of that. Now, some of those who did open their own businesses are people like Jerry Yang. Now, he started a little known company called Yahoo. Or what about Sergey Brin, who also started a very small tech company called Google, and Andrew Grove, who fled Hungary at the age of 20, and who built the modern semiconductor industry at Intel. Semiconductors, kind of important. And of course, there's the often cited Steve Jobs' dad, who, if Kelly had been in charge, well, then he would have been sent back to Syria, and we wouldn't actually have Apple. So no iPhones, no iPods, iMacs, whatever, right? No Apple, be gone. Now, according to Michael Clemens, senior fellow who leads the Migration and Development Initiative at the Center for Global Development, says, quote, "There's just not any credible research that I know of in the medium and long term that refugees are anything but a hugely profitable investment." Now, of course, upfront costs, getting them settled, and then once they're settled and able to stand on their own, they create their own businesses and actually help the economy, create jobs, pay taxes, all that stuff, and actually enrich the nation. That's why it's an investment. That's why they're good for the economy. Now, of course, there's a lot of fake research out there from, or at least presented by Breitbart, right-wing think tanks, that says, no, that's not true. All refugees are actually terrible. And all they do is go and cause crime, and they're trying to do Sharia law, no-go zones, all that stuff. That's bullshit. That's not actually true. The truth is like, yes, there are, look, refugees are people, right? There are good people, there are bad people, right? There are good refugees, there are bad refugees. And that's why we vet them. And even then, since they are human beings, sometimes human beings do terrible things. That doesn't mean that we kick them all out or we keep them all out. I mean, we shouldn't keep them all out unless that there's a really good reason. Either we can't take care of them, of course, or maybe while we're doing the vetting process, we find something suspicious. And I've got no problem with that. But the point is that the benefits of taking in people usually outweigh the bad that sometimes goes along with taking them in. But see, if you're John Kelly or Steve Bannon, or you're a racist and you're afraid of the so-called browning of America, then of course you're going to ignore all those studies, and you're just going to be like, no, I want to keep everybody else out unless they're white and European. Hey, if you're a racist and you believe that, then just call yourself what you are. I don't quite understand this pushback from people who clearly believe in racist ideology saying, hey, stop, we're not racist. No, own it. You might as well. I mean, that's a racist ideology. If you don't want brown people to come into America and you think white people are superior to the brown people, and that's why you don't want that, then just admit that you're a racist. I mean, it's really, really easy. If you only want white European people to come over to America and to be part of America, to be able to immigrate and or be refugees, then just say it. Say what you are. Admit it. You're a racist. You'll feel better. Now, White House staffers also told the Times that Kelly's comment is an example of the similarities with Donald Trump. Juliette Kayyem, a former assistant Homeland Security secretary in the Obama administration, said, quote, "Kelly has been an enabler of Trump's mission. Judge him that way." And unfortunately, that's incredibly true. He has been an enabler of Trump's mission. Sure, he has maybe stopped him from doing some of the stupidest things. It's the things that really just make him look bad. But in reality, he's also helping with Trump's agenda. And so that's something that, of course, needs to be pointed out and talked about. Now, John Kelly, I mean, this shows that John Kelly is certainly not as dumb as Trump. Obviously, he's a very, very smart person. But the thing that he does have in common with Trump is his inherent cruelty towards people who do not look like him. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.